These verses illustrate how different passages can lead to diverse and sometimes contentious interpretations, reflecting broader debates about morality, justice, and religious practice. Many Bible verses have sparked significant debate due to their interpretations and implications. Here are a few controversial examples. Genesis 1:26-27. Then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness." So God created mankind in his own image. In the image of God he created them. Male and female he created them. Controversy. The notion of being created in God's image has led to debates about gender, human nature, and the divine. Some argue this verse underpins discussions about human dignity and equality, while others debate the implications for gender roles and identity. Leviticus 18:22. Do not have sexual relations with a man as one does with a woman. That is detestable. Controversy. This verse is often cited in discussions about homosexuality. Interpretations vary widely, with some seeing it as a prohibition against same-sex relationships and others arguing it must be understood in its historical and cultural context, suggesting it may not apply to modern understandings of sexuality. Matthew 5:39. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Controversy. This teaching of Jesus challenges conventional ideas about justice and self-defense. Some interpret it as a call for pacifism and nonviolence, while others see it as a metaphor for not retaliating in personal disputes. 1 Timothy 12. I do not permit a woman to teach or to assume authority over a man. She must be quiet. Controversy. This verse is frequently discussed in the context of gender roles within the church and broader society. Interpretations range from viewing it as a cultural injunction specific to the early church to a general principle about gender roles. Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and the door will be open to you. Controversy. This verse has sparked debates on the nature of prayer and divine response. Critics argue it can lead to disillusionment if prayers are not answered as expected, while others interpret it within a framework of spiritual growth and alignment with God's will. Deuteronomy 21:18-21. If someone has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father and mother and will not listen to them, when they discipline him, his father and mother shall take hold of him and bring him to the elders at the gate of his town. They shall say to the elders, this son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He will not obey us. He is a glutton and a drunkard. Then all the men of his town are to stone him to death. You must purge the evil from among you. All Israel will hear of it and be afraid. Controversy. This verse has been debated in terms of its applicability and morality. Critics question its relevance today and its implications for justice and parental authority. Some view it as a historical cultural practice rather than a contemporary mandate. Exodus 21:20-21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a result, but they are not to be punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Controversy. This passage raises ethical concerns about slavery and human rights. The debate centers on its historical context versus modern ethical standards, with some arguing it reflects the norms of ancient societies rather than a divine endorsement of slavery. Romans 13:1-2. Let everyone be subject to the governing authorities, for there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. Controversy. This passage is often discussed in relation to political authority and civil disobedience. Interpretations vary on whether it implies unconditional submission to government or if it allows for resistance against unjust rulers. 1 Corinthians 14:34-35. Women should remain silent in the churches. They are not allowed to speak, but must be in submission, as the law says. If they want to inquire about something, they should ask their own husbands at home, for it is disgraceful for a woman to speak in the church. Controversy. This verse is contentious regarding the role of women in church leadership and public speaking. Interpretations range from seeing it as a cultural injunction to considering it a timeless principle about gender roles in worship. Revelation 21:8. But the cowardly, the unbelieving, the vile, the murderers, the sexually immoral, those who practice magic arts, the idolaters, and all liars, they will be consigned to the fiery lake of burning sulfur. This is the second death. Controversy. This verse is debated in terms of its depiction of judgment and hell. Discussions often focus on the nature of divine punishment, the criteria for judgment, and how it aligns with concepts of justice and mercy in Christian theology. These verses reflect broader theological and ethical debates within Christianity and can be interpreted in various ways, depending on theological perspectives, historical context, and personal beliefs. Please leave your opinions in comments.